Hi guys, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make boot covers, specifically Diane's from 7 Deadly Sins, but you can apply these techniques to absolutely any character's boots that you want. I start off by wrapping my boot in duct tape. I take small chunks and gently lay them down onto the boot. You don't want to wrap the boot because this will compress it and you won't get the proper pattern. I also wear the boot in this step so I get the right volume. I then cover the sole, avoiding the heel. If you need to cover your heel, that's fine, just make sure to cut it out as a completely separate piece. Then I drew a relatively straight line down the center front and back. Then a line all the way around the edge of the sole. Now it's time to remove the pattern from the boot. I cut along all the lines that I made, and I highly recommend you use registration marks because it makes everything neater and takes a lot of the guesswork out of sewing later on. I kind of regret not doing this step, but it's not absolutely necessary. So I ended up with 3 pieces, a sole, a left, and a right piece. I then traced the pattern onto some spare non-stretch fabric that I just had laying around and eyeballed some seam allowance. I also left about 1 to 2 inches of extra fabric on top just in case, and then cut everything out. Now the order that you sew everything in is important. I first sewed the front seam together, then lined up the tip of the sole to the middle seam and sewed all around the edges. This ensures that everything is sewn smoothly together. I didn't have the right color fabric, so I had to paint it with some acrylics. Again, learn from my mistakes. Do not use black marker. I had to put several layers on to cover it up and it still wasn't even perfect. Plus it makes the fabric extremely thick. Then I just glued a hemmed rectangle to the top of the boot and it was pretty secure. So clearly at A1 Pictures, laces aren't meant to be functional, so I made some unfunctional laces. I simply threaded a ribbon through 2 washers and glued it to the back of itself. I then made 12 of these bad boys, then sewed it onto the super stiff fabric by hand. Then I hot glued this thing on. And for the metal toe cap, I just painted some foam silver and black. Ideally, you should use 6 to 8mm foam, but I only had 12 at the time, so it's super bulky. And for those bolts, I used some of those dollar store rhinestones. They were great for details like these. Now you could glue on an outer sole at the bottom, but I just painted mine black. Keep in mind though that it is a bit slippery without one. I then installed one of those separating zips at the back. You can definitely use a regular zip. Just keep in mind that the zipper will be dangling at the end. It's not a big deal unless you're super picky. And there you have it, a surprisingly fully functional boot cover that you can slip on and off whenever you need. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful, and thank you so much for watching.